And we're live. It's Melinda from Hope When There Was None. I am on with Miss Jaime Hornickel, and she is with the 1441 Foundation. We met by chance, and a
Mhm.
shameless plug. We are both vendors at Vintage Thrift in Lowell, Indiana, and I heard. Okay, I'm nosy, so I overheard her chatting with somebody at the front counter, and I was like, girl, I need you to share your story. Somebody needs to know your story, Dayton's story. And so that's how we got together. So I'm going to just shut up right now and let you talk about Dayton's story.
Okay. Okay. Well, I want to start out by saying that, we're a big military first responder family. So, my husband served in the military. We are a veteran based organization. And I'll come to like where our name came from in a minute. But me and my husband, just a little backstory on me. Me and my husband were together in high school. He went into the military, into the Marine Corps, and we had 3 boys. We came home to be closer to family and get some help because that was a large taking, but they're all amazing. So we always prided ourselves on having 3 Marine brats, and my husband ended up in Lowell, Indiana here, on the police department. And after 22 years, he's now the assistant chief. So that's where, the first responders comes in. But, you know, the boys growing up were always in sports. All 3 of them. That was our one thing. We're like, boys, we want you active all year round. Don't get in trouble. Like, we'll, trying to raise good boys. So they did. They played Pop Warner. They played baseball. They played T-ball. They played, tried soccer. Wasn't really their thing, but, we tried everything. And Pop Warner stuck. All 3 of my boys played Pop Warner. Baseball stuck. And then, we even had wrestling in there somewhere. So they all had their dreams. Actually, we thought we were going to be following a couple of them around in our camper to watch football games, like professional football games. Like that's what we said we would do. We would tailgate with our camper. Those dreams when they're little, it's crazy
Yeah.
what you can come up with. But fast forward, my older 2, Darian and Dayton, they joined the Marine Corps together in 2018. So they went to boot camp together. They went through school together. They were stationed together. And they were just in separate platoons. So they had 2 different, platoons to work with. But very proud of them. How can you not be proud of someone that's kind of following dad's footsteps, that's, willing to sacrifice everything
Right.
for us? Then my youngest one, Dawson, he ended up joining the Navy, and he is still in the Navy. Him and his wife serve as yeah, they're corpsmen. But when Dayton got injured when they were overseas on deployment, so when that happened, he was unable to do his job. And he ended up having 3 surgeries before they honorably discharged him to come home. And he still was not healed. He was still had a broken foot, was suffering through, pain and nerve damage. And anyway, we got him an appointment for a civilian doctor to do surgery on him. And the doctor said, you know what, I can fix this. I can fix this. I may not be able to fix that. And I saw I have a tendency to say, I saw defeat in his face, but a smile on his face at the same time. And he said, let's do it. Let's do it. So he was scheduled for a pre-op visit a month after he returned home from being discharged. And he didn't make it to the pre-op visit. He took his own life. The signs are, for us, our hindsight's 2020 for us. That boy always had a smile. He was witty. He was charming. He was, sarcastic, and he never let that veil down very often. We talked about his depression that he did have, but, in sharing that we also deal with that. Like, we've dealt with that. We've dealt with anxiety, me and his dad both, and try to comfort him in that way that he's not alone. And unfortunately, that, he still ended his life. So it has been 21 months since that happened. And right away, we knew this couldn't be in vain. We wanted to carry his legacy on. One of the things was, even though we're such a big military family, we don't know a lot of contacts. We don't know resources. We don't know who to contact for the, I know who the VA is, but, we don't know who to contact for that, or who to contact for benefits, or who to contact to change or get them into school. There's a lot of stuff there that it's like, okay, yeah, that takes a lot of research and a lot of, okay, going through this channel, that channel. So we decided we wanted to do a memorial golf outing last year. And just, to memorialize him, to just say, hey, everyone come out. What we're going to do is we're going to raise money for another foundation that, helps with suicide prevention for veterans. And we set out to do that. And the families, our family, friends, the community was so giving and loving and sharing and cared so much. And we had such a great day in honoring him that we said, okay, we can do more. We have to do more. Like, we are going to touch people. We have to. That's when we started talking about a nonprofit. So our mission, basically, as a nonprofit, is to raise suicide awareness for our veteran, families and the veterans, not to them, because they know that, and in case you guys don't know, on average, 22 veterans take their lives per day. So we're trying to raise awareness to the civilian world, to those that maybe aren't connected with the military, to know that that's how many veterans are affected by that.
I had no idea when I saw that statistic on your website. I had no clue that it was that high.
It's unbelievable. It's one's too many.
Yes.
Let alone 21 others took their lives the same day my son did. Oh. So that's where we said, you know what, we're going to start raising this awareness. We're going to start raising funds for, our local and other providers around here, or other organizations that also are doing it for suicide prevention for veterans. Now, we do not exclude, if you're not a veteran, we don't turn you away. If you need help, we will try to help you.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And we also are trying to be more of a resource hub for our veterans, for those coming home. We use our social media page and our website to kind of give, the 988 number, which is a national suicide hotline. But if you press 1, you get a veteran.
Ooh.
So a veteran speaks to a veteran when they're in crisis, and it's a great hotline to have, but I didn't know about that hotline. So we have it blasted on our webpage and on social media that is dial 988 and press 1 if you're a veteran and want to speak to a veteran. So, and then a million other, Melinda, I can't even tell you how many people we have met so far, and the resources we have is just amazing. People are so caring and so willing to share, like, okay, well, what about this? And we've got links for schools. We've got links for, hiking. We know a man that, does a hiking event at the dunes, and he does it almost every day, and going out with nature. And it's just like the people we've met already in just at a year has been mind blowing. Mind blowing. But we also want to connect with the families as well. So the families are kind of what I'm saying, like the surviving families like us, you know, other mothers, other brothers, other sisters, dads, you know, we are open to, hey, let's have a a cookout, or let's, you know, just get together and talk, or we'll meet at the coffee shop. You know, I'm willing to, it just, the feeling you get when you meet someone that has been in your spot, is amazing. And then also, you know, just that camaraderie is something that, you know, not only we are looking for, but hopefully we can help someone else not feel alone. So yeah.
That is what a beautiful, I'm trying not to cry. I cry through every podcast I do. I'm trying not to cry, but his story is just so moving. Your story is so moving, and what a beautiful tribute. Honestly, what a beautiful tribute. It really is.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, don't.
I'm trying not to. But I think it's just amazing what you guys have done in such a short time. And I wouldn't know what I don't have anybody, my husband or I aren't in the service, so I wouldn't even know where to look. But I have had contact one of my guests, previous guests. He was a veteran. He's a veteran, and he said he felt so out of, like a fish out of water when he came home. He's like, I didn't know what to do, how to act, and you know, no one was there to help me. He slipped into a depression himself. So, you know, what do you tell somebody, especially some of the families out there? How can they, if they see some sort of signs, or was there, I know you mentioned hindsight before, is there something that they can look for? Son,
I mean,
daughter, husband, wife.
There's, so I mean, there's the signs that are there that are obvious, the ones that, you know, the ones that say, I want to, you know, I don't want to live anymore. You know, my life's not worth living. Or those that reach out and say, you know, or getting someone to take care of a finance or something else. Like, you can kind of grasp where some of the suicide warnings are very obvious.
Okay.
But then, like I said, I did not have any of the obvious. But one of the ones that I have learned along the way is, that's not as obvious, is the one where they feel like they are a burden. And I know that was mentioned, and that's one that you can't really see or hear unless they specifically tell you that. So where that one's kind of a hard one, and I honestly am not sure yet. I mean, I really don't have the answer for how to see that.
Right.
But I was told that might have been part of the reasoning, is he felt like he was a burden, and heaven forbid that boy, you know, anybody's child, no, they're not a burden, you know, in our, but the other thing is, so we're trying to take a couple courses on trying to get the preventative stuff, which is another thing we want to do, is to host, you know, some social gatherings and have a speaker come and tell us, okay, these are some warning signs. And this even would be open to, you know, possibly the schools, because it is out there since COVID has kind of done a number on everybody. But it would be in a way that would be productive, not something that was too overwhelming. But just to bring that awareness that,
you know what, I hate to interrupt you. I know Rensselaer did have a, before COVID, they did have a course. It was a one-day course where you can get certified. I know I went myself to become, if somebody, almost like not an advisor, but hey, I'm advocating for suicide awareness. I'll have to find the information for you. I haven't seen it in a while though. I really haven't.
Because I know as myself, and I am president of the 1441 and co-founder. My husband and I both are, you know, the founders of this foundation. But we have 14 family members on our board, that's what we started out with. And now we've already added 5 this year to be on our board.
Wow.
So amazing, right?
Yes.
But where I was going with that was, I did go and take a course up in Chesterton.
Okay.
And there again, sometimes in my headspace, I don't always retain everything. And that's where I'm like, the one that stuck, that I recognize and that I experienced, is the one that stuck in my head, of the whole, feeling like a burden.
Okay.
But yes, we would love to host something like that to kind of give people the opportunity to kind of learn more.
Right.
And I noticed, I know you said that, you don't have any, I'm sorry for the sirens.
Oh, that's okay.
Hear them. That, you don't have any veterans really in your family or per se. But my one advice to you is, and I've done this ever since my husband was in, if you see a service member, whether that be with the hat, or a decal or a license plate, and you see them, just thank them for their service.
Yes.
That may totally turn their day around. They may have been having a bad day. They may have, and smile at them, and you'll be amazed at where, what responses you may get.
Oh, and the beautiful stories you'll hear too.
Absolutely.
Really, especially from Vietnam or World War II veterans. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
goodness. Well, even current veterans too,
Right.
from like
Yes.
Gulf War and stuff. The amazing stories are just, it's mind blowing. You will have the best conversations
You
ever.
do. I'll tell you what, but some of the vets, we visit the VFW here in Lowell, quite a bit. And, those vets in there, they're so awesome. Like, they may look hard on the outside, but you can get them to laugh and smile and tell jokes. So it's great to sit around there, and then watching them on, a Friday night where they have karaoke, they're all up there singing and, having a blast. So yeah, they like to look hard, but they're not. So, but another part of, like our starting a nonprofit is because sadly we were watching our family, just, a local family, athletic family, play sports, we do everything together, and we're all falling apart. We're all falling apart.
I can't imagine. I really can't.
And the 2 boys, struggling. And then what do they do now? Because they all had dreams, and now it's kind of like, so we have gone through a lot in the past year and a half to get to where we are today. And I have to say it's because of this foundation and what we're doing here and how we are reaching people, and we are we're helping people, and we're meeting people, and getting to say Dayton's name every day. Like, that's huge. That's huge. Yes. So,
and speaking of Dayton, I don't mean to interrupt you. So 1441, where did that come from?
I told you that would happen. Okay. I always forget that part because I just assume. But okay,
get me track.
Get me back. So Dayton playing Pop Warner and travel ball during his early years was always number 41. He was always 41 on all of his jerseys. And then he got to high school, and even in Pop Warner, he was quarterback, but you can pick your own number. So he was 41. When he got to high school and, was assigned as a quarterback, coach said, 41's too high of a number. Pick a different number. He'll beg to differ. It's a little bit of a different story, but that's my story. So Dayton looked, and he went with the 14 jersey. At least then he's just swapping the numbers. So we thought, what, we wanted, like, as much as we are working with veterans, and that's kind of our, that is our purpose, but we wanted to show the roots of Dayton. We don't, and we're trying to get rid of the stigma of suicide and being able for people to say it without judgment, without, without judgment is the hard part. So yeah, we kind of took it back to who he was before the military. So 1441, is what it was. And our logo was actually drawn up by my husband himself, made our logo, which is a mirrored image of 1441. And can I share one thing that I learned today?
Of course.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So I had, and I'm going to have to pull it up on my phone, so forgive me.
Okay.
But I had a visitor today, and she said, Jamie, what is your angel number? And I said, I don't know. I said, isn't that like where you have 3 or 4 numbers of the same number? And she's like, well, it doesn't have to be. She's like, hold on a minute. So she pulls this up on her phone, and it says angel number 1441.
Oh my gosh, I got chills.
Right? Wait.
Oh.
Ask you to be open with others about your own life and life journey. You never know who you may meet to hear from you and who can most benefit from it. Your experiences matter often more than you think.
Oh.
Dude.
Dang. Holy crap.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, and we do call it our signs or visits when we see 1441, number 14, 41, both of them together. You know, we tend to live for that. We tend to, you know, like, okay, where are we going to see them today? You know, and I had no idea. That was there.
No, that's
added to our
I made it this far. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I believe in those heavenly hellos, and that is just beautiful.
Absolutely, I do. I mean, honestly, that's one thing that gets me up every morning is, you know, okay, what am I going to encounter today? You know? So yeah, when she shared that with me today, I went, I got to share that on the podcast somehow because that just blows my mind.
Oh my gosh.
I just learned that today. Like we've had, so mind blowing.
That's awesome.
Right? So we are sharing our story. We are sharing our journey. And we are meeting people and we are trying to make the world a better place, as stupid as that sounds.
Oh, no.
You know, if we can just help one person know that they are worth it, they are enough, they are not a burden, they are loved, and also let the families know that you're not alone. You know, we've gone through this too. I mean, there's certain things we don't talk about that, you know, is more of a personal thing, but you know, we do share the fact that that I just want to get rid of the stigma around suicide and try to get people to talk. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's all I got to say is just wow. And how powerful, how beautiful, and just, again, what a tribute for him.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And to help so many, because you are in that grief process.
Yes. Yeah. And today I may be holding it together. Tomorrow or tonight may be a different story. But, you know, at the same time, I prayed before I got on here with you. And then we prayed. So, and honestly, I prayed for my squirrels to not follow me around during this and let me talk without getting all distracted. Because that is, I completely call it grief brain, and it's real. It is so real. It's painful sometimes.
I call those look, there's a chicken moments.
Yeah, and I call them squirrels. So there we go. Same thing.
Well, you did good. And there is one other thing that I have not included in there. You're going to be having merchandise soon, and that's not quite ready yet.
No, so we just ran an online store. We do an online store that we'll run from the place that does our apparel. We have 3 different designs right now. I am not sure when we will be coming out with a new design. I'm not sure when yet, but we will be coming out with a couple's new summer apparel. And that's in July. We'll be doing that. So yeah. And then we are also having the second annual golf outing is July 15th. So we are right now in the process of getting our sponsors and raffle items and volunteers and stuff. So all that can be found on our webpage of the 1441 foundation.com. If anyone wants to, help us out with that. And we do have a few other things in the books. We do Labor Day. So we're in the Labor Day Fest and we're in the Labor Day Parade. And we're going to be hosting a free Thanksgiving dinner for veterans and families. So they're not alone for the holiday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Yes. So we plan on doing that at the VFW in Lowell on Thanksgiving Day. So
okay,
that's one of our give backs.
Oh, that's awesome. And you do have a Venmo, which I've been showing.
We do. Yes.
And can you tell me a little bit about that?
So our Venmo, we just have a Venmo, and we also take Zelle. It's through Chase Bank or any of your other banks that you can transfer money bank to bank. But our Venmo is for donations, or like I said, if anyone wants to sponsor for the golf outing, or just wants to donate, you can go straight to that 1441 and can do it from there. So, and we are a nonprofit, so it's all a write-off.
Awesome. And what a beautiful, beautiful thing to do for somebody. Even if you can't participate maybe in golfing or something, something like that's a great way to
and actually this year we actually added something to where if you're not a golfer and you don't necessarily want to volunteer the whole day, you can come out and have dinner with us and do the 50-50 and the raffles and have a fun night with us if you want to join us that way. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, and if no one has to worry about scribbling down all the links that I've had on here on the screen, I will have them in the comments. Actually, they're there now. If you're listening on the podcast, I will have that in the show notes. YouTube, the same thing. You can find those there, and definitely get in contact with Jaime that way.
Yeah.
Yes, and reach out to the foundation if you or a loved one is in need, maybe just adjusting back to civilian life. By all means, reach out to Jaime and her crew. Yes.
Melinda, thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing his beautiful story. Really and truly, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I hope, if anyone needs anything, that I hope I touched one person tonight. So.
You have, definitely. I know you have. Well, Jaime, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for sharing Dayton's story and your family's, the tragedy, but the beauty that's come out of it, really and truly. So thank you so much for being brave and sharing with your squirrels.
All right, Melinda. Thank you.
Yes, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Please share the foundation, share Dayton's story. You have a great rest of your day. God bless, and stay safe. Bye.
Bye.